I'm Anthony Forrest, the president of Steel Cod, and I'm here with John Beresford, our VP of Sales, ready to discuss all things appliances. All right, John, something that we like to do is kind of clarify something that is it really affecting the customer? Is it really affecting the performance of the appliance, or is it just kind of a red sticker, kind of on the specs or on the appliance saying it has this? And in this case, we're talking
Yeah.
brass versus aluminum burners. Obviously, there's an aesthetic difference that jumps out to you. But the question is there really a performance difference, or this is just a reason to charge a little more?
Yeah, I like this, and that was a very diplomatic way to put it. But I mean, listen, this is one of those features that exist probably at least at some level in every kind of range conversation. But I can guarantee you, if we listened in to 9 out of 10 of them, it carries almost no real meaning, right? It gets mentioned more because it sounds premium and it's something visual that you can point to. But I guarantee you that the vast majority of people have no understanding of why it actually exists there, right? Because most people hear brass and, it immediately kind of translates into kind of this weird, like more power, more heat, better cooking thing. And, that's kind of the problem, right? Because none of those things are actually tied to the material itself. The burner is not generating heat because it's brass, right? The gas system is determining the output there. The burner design determines distribution. So if the output isn't coming from the material, then I mean, we really have to ask the right question, which is what is the material actually doing inside the system? And until you answer that, this stays really kind of a meaningless, almost like check the box, it has it feature.
Very much so, and it is, it's an easy visual comparison that just saying it feels like, well, this one has aluminum, but this one has brass. Oh, okay, well, brass is a more
Yeah.
expensive metal, so it must be better.
Yeah.
So just feels like a
That's
simple
exactly how it
upgrade,
goes.
right?
You literally just did every conversation out there when it comes to that. Yeah. And it does. It feels simple because people are comparing the wrong variables. If they're comparing anything at all, right? They're almost comparing it like it's horsepower, like in a car, right?
Right.
I mean, like this one has brass and this one doesn't. So this one must be stronger. And they're just hoping that that just carries. That logic works in categories where material is tied directly to output. But this is not what's happening here, right? The flame is created by gas and ignition. The size, intensity, and spread of that flame come from gas pressure and port size and port layout and burner geometry, all of those things, right? None of those things change just because the material is brass. So when somebody says the burner is better because it's brass, they're skipping the entire system really and jumping to a conclusion. And the real comparison is not which one makes more heat. It's what happens to the heat once the burner is running, because that's where the material actually comes into play and can actually make a big difference.
All right, so let's talk about it. What's actually the difference between the materials?
So, okay, yeah, now we get into the part that actually explains everything, right? Aluminum and brass behave completely differently under heat. And it's pretty massive. I mean, if you break it down, it's really kind of structural. Aluminum is a low density material with very low thermal mass. Okay, so what that means basically in layman's terms is it heats up really, really quickly and it sheds the heat really, really quickly as well, right? It doesn't retain the energy. So when a flame is applied to an aluminum burner, the burner itself does not store the heat. It just simply allows the flame to pass through it and do the work quickly. So the burner body is, I guess, the best way to frame it, it's essentially neutral in the system. Okay. And if you compare that to brass, brass is much denser. It's much heavier, which means that it has a much higher thermal mass as a result. So when the flame hits brass, it doesn't just pass through it. The material is actually absorbing that heat and it's holding on to it. And then it radiates it back into the system. So now that burner essentially is no longer neutral. It really becomes active in the scenario, right? Because it's storing energy and it reintroduces it into the cooking process. So the difference at the material level is very simple, but it's critical because aluminum basically transfers heat and brass is retaining heat. That's the best way to think about it. So once you understand that, I think everything else that falls along with it actually becomes quite predictable as a result.
So let's talk to that predictability and what is actually changing in the burner itself.
Yeah, so I think this part's cool because now you can connect that material behavior that we just went over to the actual system behavior. In an aluminum burner, the flame is the only active heat source, right? So if the flame fluctuates in any way, even slightly, then the output at the cooking surface changes immediately, right? There's nothing in the system that's absorbing that change or smoothing it out or really doing you any favors there. So the system becomes highly reactive as a result. So every adjustment that you make at that knob translates almost instantly into a change into that pan. And that, I mean, that's where you get kind of that dancing flame, and like there's no real maneuverability within that knob. And you just see that flame going like that. So, in a lot of ways, that can almost sound like control, but I would argue that there's a lot of volatility in that whole cooking sequence, right? Because there's really no buffer between the gas flow and the cooking result. But with brass, that changes fundamentally, right? I mean, the burner absorbs heat from the flame and then stores it, like we talked about. So now, when the flame does increase or decrease, the burner doesn't allow the change to fully pass through immediately, right? So it acts as a moderator and it really kind of smooths that whole process out and it slows down the rate of change. So instead of a direct relationship between the flame and the output, you now have more of this kind of buffered system. And the burner itself becomes almost like this stabilization layer for you. That's really the difference. It has nothing to do with the output, it's more about stability.
All right, so let's talk about the flame itself. Is there any difference between the flames going through aluminum or brass?
I would say what you see, and I guess more importantly, probably what you feel as the cook, is how the system behaves over the course of time. So with aluminum, the flame is really, really sharp. It responds immediately, right? You turn that knob slightly and you see this massive visible change in the flame. And, again, that responsiveness is going to kind of feel powerful in a sense, but it also introduces all those inconsistencies that we talked about. Because small changes in gas flow and airflow and even really pan placement at that point can shift that flame behavior for you. And that creates a system that is constantly moving, I guess. But with brass, the flame behavior is moderated, like we discussed. So because the burner is holding heat, the system doesn't spike as aggressively. You don't see it quite as much. And it also doesn't drop as quickly either. So those transitions, like we talked about, are much smoother. So output is more consistent from really movement to movement. So it's not that herky jerky movement that you'll see with aluminum sometimes. So what changes, it's not really the size of the flame, it's really the stability of that flame. And the stability is really what's going to determine how predictable the cooking experience can be for you.
So let's kind of talk about the cooking experience because lots of times when we're talking appliances, we put things under a microscope that are ultra fine tuned or very minute differences that to us are major because we talk about this all the time, but the customer might not really
Yeah.
feel that big of a difference. You feel like if a customer had two ranges side by side with one has aluminum, one has a brass, how would they feel the difference between these two?
Yeah, it's a good question because I would say, and I think there's an argument against this, but at least my own personal experience was you don't really feel this at high heat, and I think that's where people probably expect it. In fact, there's a narrative out there that does lend some credence to that, but I never subscribed to it. But I think that's really where they miss it. At high output, both of these systems can deliver enough energy to cook effectively, right? It's really not about that. I think the difference is really what we talk about all the time is control, right? So simmering is obviously going to be your cleanest example, right? With aluminum, the system is going to be very reactive, like we talked about, and that's not what you want in simmering, right? Small changes in gas flow translate into those visible and really functional changes to at the pan level. So that means you're constantly adjusting to maintain that low consistent heat. The flame isn't um, failing, right? It's just really not stabilized at that point. And that's where you see the constant fluctuations where people get frustrated with the simmer technology that's out there because they are constantly moving up and moving down, trying to get that optimal temperature in the bottom of their pan. So when you're dialing it down, the system, I'm sorry, with brass, when you're dialing that down, the system holds that level much more consistently, right? So you're not really chasing anything. It's very controlled. You set it and it really can just kind of stay there for you. And I would argue, so I think where simmering is kind of the easiest example to kind of apply it to, I would say that long cooks, you're going to notice it there too. So
Good.
over the course of time, right, aluminum systems are going to drift pretty significantly because there's no retained energy that's stabilizing that output for you, right? Where brass systems maintain that consistency much better because the burner continues to regulate the heat that's being delivered. So the difference the customer feels is not going to be so much in, all right, well, this one feels hotter than the other one. It's really going to be in any of those control settings where this one is going to feel a heck of a lot easier to control, whether it's at lower temperatures or over the course of a longer cook.
So, we opened up at the beginning with that. It's probably not being, the conversations on the floor are not similar to the conversations that we're having now, nor is anyone spending
Yeah.
15 minutes talking about brass versus aluminum burners, hopefully. So let's kind of reset. How do salespeople kind of get this wrong?
Well, I would say not understanding anything that we just talked about, but I think that the really kind of the narrative that's out there, I would say, is solving for the wrong problem, right? Is that there are so many people that either sell off of more heat or people maybe even thinking that they need more heat. They don't. Okay. Modern burners already produce more than enough heat for almost every cooking application that's out there. The failure point is not the lack of output ever. It's always in lack of control, right? People burn sauces, they over reduce liquids, they scorch food, and it's never because they didn't have enough heat. It's always because the heat that they had was unstable. And I think brass really helps address this head on. Because they're not increasing the output like the narrative is that's out there. It's really by stabilizing that output. And that's the important thing to understand here.
And then to further clarify that just brass alone doesn't determine performance, correct?
No, no, I would say not even close. I mean, material is really just one part of that overall system, right? If the burner is still poorly designed, and by poorly designed, we're talking about bad port layouts or uneven distribution or just a weak flame pattern overall, brass is never going to be able to fix those things for you, right? It'll simply stabilize a crappy system. So a bad burner made of brass is still going to remain a bad burner. A well-designed burner made of brass becomes much more stable as a result,
Mm.
and that's really where the difference is. Because otherwise, you really start selling material instead of performance. So you have to be careful with that line too, because that can help you lose trust really, really quick. So you want to make sure you have the story right.
So what would be something to say to salespeople? You've listened to this episode and there's quite a bit of information that's informative. How
Yeah.
much time would you spend on this with the customer and how would you kind of really compress this into to get your point across?
Yeah, it's a good question. Brass is better. It's not for the reasons that people think. It's not better because it produces more heat. It's better because it stabilizes the heat that's being produced, right? Aluminum is going to give you a very direct response. Brass is going to give you a much more regulated response. And most cooking that people are going to do in terms of the problems that result from it, they don't come from having enough heat. They come from being able to control it once it's there. And that's why the material in this instance, this versus matters so much because it changes how consistently you can use it.
We drop a new episode every day of the week, including weekends. Don't forget to rate and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.